Hi guys, it's Michelle Jones and we're live. Thank you for joining me this morning. As I mentioned to all of you, we are going to have a very interesting guest today and we will be discussing a topic that a few people might be a little bit confused about. So as I shared on social media, and just before I keep chatting, let me just make sure that we are definitely live on. There we go. We are live. Awesome. Okay. So as I mentioned on social media, one of the things that is still happening in this day and age is the burning of witches at the stake. Now, when you hear this and you think it's not possible, well, trust me, I didn't think it was possible as well. About 5 years ago, we were posted to Papua New Guinea, to Port Moresby. And when we were Googling and trying to just do our research on what was going on over there, what Papua New Guinea was like, and the usual checks that we do as a family before we go on a posting, my daughter came out and had her computer with her and said, why are we going to Papua New Guinea? They've got headhunters over there. And we were a bit confused and we had to check if this was recent information, and it was. And when I say headhunters, we're not talking about people that are looking for jobs for you. We're talking about people that actually are cannibals, or you know, when when they get into tribal wars, because there's several tribes in Papua New Guinea, they do chop each other's heads. So that does happen. Now, mind you, let me just say, Papua New Guinea is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever seen. When I was talking to my husband, when we were in Port Moresby, I said, I can't believe how beautiful the city is. I said, it's the most beautiful city I've ever lived in. Problem is, there are some things that need to change. And unless we learn about it, unless we talk about it, we're not going to be able to address the problem. Now, going back to burning of witches, you know, if you're like me, before Papua New Guinea, I actually thought it was something that ended in the 1800s, you know, with Joan of Arc being burned in France and with all these other martyrs and women accused of witchcraft or heresy. Now, that's not the case. In Papua New Guinea and in sub-Saharan African countries, women are still burned at the stake. Burning of women also still happens in places like India. We need to try and do whatever we can to let this information out, to have people know that it does exist, so that we together can try and figure out a way to stop it. Now, this is not the usual kappa on health and wellness and interesting topics. It is still about health. It is about mental health. It is about strength. It is about believing in yourself. Because this woman that we will have today, Emily Niliwan Nili, had to have the strength in her heart, in her soul, in her religion, in her faith, and in her mental health to be able to pick herself up and become an advocate for women after what she had gone through. Now, there's a lot of things that I still am not clear about in this story, and that is what is going to be clarified today. So like you, I will be unraveling this mystery of what's happened to her. We are doing this, again, as I said, to create awareness. It's important to be aware of the problems. And again, it is not designed to scare people from visiting this beautiful country. It is more telling people that it does exist. And one of the things my husband said to me before is, watch out what you say. If you're living in Australia or even the US, a herbalist can sometimes call herself a witch, because sometimes people tease us about that. You know, we use herbs, we use extracts, we use potions, you know. So my patients would actually call me sometimes and say, could you give me your witch's brew? And I remember telling my husband, I was so excited to see Papua New Guinea and learn about the herbs and learn about, you know, the medicinal properties of their herbs over there. And I said, after all, I'm a witch. And he goes, you watch out what you say and you don't use that word over there. And I didn't realize how true it was until one day when we were in Port Moresby, I got a message on my WhatsApp showing me this woman that was being beaten along this path, along this road. It was somewhere in Ley. And I was so stressed and nervous and anxious, and I didn't know what to do. I was so far away, and I was sending messages to my friends who lived in Ley and saying, can you please check this out? Can you please see what you can do? Can you please get the police there? And because this woman was charged with sorcery, with witchcraft, and she was being beaten to the place where she was going to be burned. So I know it may be a difficult topic for some of you, and we will be showing some pictures as well to shed light, to just open your eyes to what is happening. And, you know, again, as I said, it's not something that's happened and been abolished and ended. It is still happening in some countries. And we women should band together, and everyone else that knows that women should be respected, should be cared for, and women have rights. Women are people. We're human. We are all equal. We are all the same in the eyes of God. So for those of you that want to make a difference, please do stay tuned and join us with your kappa. So joining us today, she is here already. So joining us today, as I mentioned, is Emily Niliwan Nili. She is the wife of an ex-ambassador of Papua New Guinea. I'm not sure if they've finally finished the divorce, so I guess I could say ex-husband. And so she is educated. She's an educated woman that grew up in the city. Although she's originally from Enga, which is a lovely, lovely province in Papua New Guinea, she is an educated woman who has traveled to the US, represented their country, and yet, despite all that, was accused of sorcery. She now is a women's advocate, and she helps women in Papua New Guinea and in other countries to actually shed light on their rights, on the issues, and how wrong burning at the stake is, how witchcraft and sorcery aren't reasons for this kind of thing. And, you know, what is witchcraft? Do we really understand what witchcraft is? I mean, as I said, in Australia, we call ourselves Wiccas if we're herbalists. Doesn't mean that we do black magic. More often than not, it means we use natural stuff around us to actually help people get better. And if we look at history, did we not call people or the elderly women in tribes before, like as the head witch or I can't remember the term anymore, but these are women that actually used potions and herbs and stuff to better their tribes, to better their groups, to help heal the sick. It was never to harm anyone. Anyway, help me welcome Emily Niliwan Nili. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for taking the time to actually let your voice be heard. I know this is a difficult topic to discuss, but hopefully together we can make a difference. So please greet our guests and give a brief introduction about yourself.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so happy to have you here.
We met on this woman. What was it?
Women empowerment, yes.
Women empowerment last Wednesday, was it?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, it was. So, it was a very challenging presentation there. But thank you for inviting me to your show. And yes, my name is Emily, and I'm from Papua New Guinea.
Yes. For those of you that don't
know, I'm divorced now. You said you didn't know whether I was divorced or yet to divorce. I'm officially divorced now, and 5 years ago.
Awesome. That's not something that I usually am happy about with people, but you know, in this case, I have to say, very stoked about it. Emily, you also now live in Brisbane in Australia. You've been there for the last 26 years, right?
Yes, I have, and I am now.
So I'm glad that it's a very different environment. But just so that people know what Papua New Guinea is like, can you describe you know, what you see, like in Enga or in Port Moresby? What do you see in Papua New Guinea, and you know, how different is Papua New Guinea to Australia?
Okay. I'm from a province in Papua New Guinea. It's called Enga Province. And Enga Province is divided from Western Highlands Province. And I think it was separated in 1973. The Enga are called Engens, speaking one language. And we have 5 districts in the province with, I think, a population of 500,000. I may be wrong, but now it's 500,000, and I come from country of Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea has 820 languages, and we have a population of 7 million. And I come from a small village called Pipitombos. That's, I think, 10 minutes drive into the city.
Oh,
and
wow.
We have, not city, sorry, I'm sorry, Enga, the township of Enga. And we have 5 districts. We have Kandep districts, we have Wapenamanda district, we have, I think, Laigam Pogara district and Wabek district. We have, and each of the districts, they have their own elected members of parliament, and we have 1 governor. So my village is very close to Wabek town, where the central place is. And
in terms of what you have, Enga Province, isn't that highlands as well? Is that highlands or is that
yes.
the
It's up in the highlands. We travel by road from Mount Hagen. And I think it's one of the rugged province after Chimbu province, but it covers 2,800 kilometers. Am I right? I don't know. But anyway, and it is 2,000 meters above sea level. So we are in the very cold, the last province of Papua New Guinea. And when people say Papua New Guinea is the unexpected land, they're talking about Enga.
Okay.
So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. Enga, when I look at the pictures of Enga, it's just a beautiful area with a lot of greeneries, a lot of
Yes.
herbs, a lot of fruits, a lot of even wildlife, right? So it's a beautiful place to live in.
It is. I think I am so fortunate. Like my big sister, who raised me, and I was brought up in the city. And I don't know a lot of culture and tradition back in my province, but growing up as a woman married back to my province, it's very interesting. And I think it's through my mother's faith that I'm this way, like believing in Jesus, believing in God. And my father was a chief in the village. So he was allowed to marry a lot of women, because my mother came into the Seventh-day Adventist faith, and that was not good for my father, because she had to look after pigs and she had to do all the, community works and all this. The tribe, the clan, they needed it. But my mother came into the Adventist home, so I hardly saw my father, but I lived with my mother. That's growing up. And then I went into the city and I lived with my big sister. Mostly my childhood days growing up, I grew up in Goroka.
That's beautiful. One of the other things that I'd like our audience to understand is, although you're from Enga, you actually grew up in Port Moresby, the city itself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you lived a very different life from the normal Engan, if I can call them that. Is that how you call them, Engan?
Yes. Engan.
Okay.
Yes, you're right.
All right. And
Yes.
when I was reading your story, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I think I would have kinda understood it better if you were there. You and your husband lived there. You were, tribal people who were educated over there, lived that lifestyle and understood the whole accusations of sorcery and stuff. But you didn't. You are both highly educated people. In fact, he was the Papua New Guinean ambassador to Washington at one point, right? And having that title means, again, backed by education, has the right mindset, and yet this happened to you. So can you just explain to me how that felt when you found out that you have been accused of sorcery, you've been accused as a witch? What did you feel, and when did this happen exactly?
In Papua New Guinea, every woman who is married to like a man with status and all this, we have a role to play. We have a role to play, and we make our husbands to be who they are. So growing up, I didn't have the knowledge and the culture of Enga, but because I've married into an Engan, I learned how to be an Engan woman. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
learned how to I learned how to be an Engan woman. I learned how to be, the culture, the tradition, the society, the community, because our life, even though we are educated, even though we lived overseas, our lives are revolved around our culture, our tradition, our traditional obligations. For example, if someone dies, I have to play that part to contribute in that death, for the funeral expenses and whatever. So my life revolved around the community, the culture, the tradition, because I have to do it. And it was a must because, the culture that I was married to. So coming back to when you say, how did it happen? I don't know. I was divorced in 2016, 23rd. I was in Brisbane, and I had a knock one afternoon at 4:30. I had a knock one afternoon at 4:30, and I'm always smiling. I'm a very joyful woman, so I went and I said hello, and the person that knocked on the door asked me. He said, "Are you Emily?" And he called my surname, which I don't want to mention, but he called my husband's name, and he said, "Are you there?" So with a big smile, and he had a yellow envelope on him. So I smiled and I said, "Yes, I am." And he gave me this yellow envelope. I had already received the envelope, but he gave me another white, like an A4 paper that said proof of service. And I didn't see everything, but I saw the word divorce. Michelle, I don't know whether that man was still there and I signed or not. The world went upside down for me. Because my husband and I, we have never planned a divorce. We've never talked about a divorce. We've never argued. And my husband is a perfect husband. Perfect. So we don't argue, we don't fight. So when the divorce came, I was so confused. I thought, I'm perfect in the cultural, the tradition, all the obligations. Now, in the Western side, I go above all limits, and I thought, the car that I drive, or the house that I live in, the clothes that I wear, and the name tag that I carry as ambassador's wife, what will that be? Mm. And I lost it. So I tried to think, like, what had happened? And, when a woman goes through a divorce, like when there's a discussion that we will divorce, or when they say that, okay, when they talk about a divorce, then when you are prepared. Like in Australia, when you want to get a divorce, you go for 1 year counseling and you live separately for a year. And then you go through a divorce. This man, I'm telling you, like, I saw him in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and then a divorce comes. It shocked me. Mm-hmm. So I ended up trying to take my own life. And one thing that I went through is my marriage. My marriage to him it was a bitter one. I nearly died on that marriage. My traditional wedding, giving bride price and all this. So I thought, I have all these people that they'll be dancing, they'll be screaming, they'll be saying, "Oh, good, Emily divorced her husband." So life wasn't good for me. I went through, and one thing that Michelle, I will tell you, and I want to tell all my viewers today, is I was divorced with $6. I didn't expect anything. I came down for business consultation in Australia, and he was up there. So I brought nothing. Like Brisbane and Papua New Guinea is home for me, so I travel like sometimes I come down for a day and then I would go back. So this was one of the trips that I came. So I took nothing with me. And he had visited me and we were working on a big project up there. So whatever I had was all taken. And man, with $6, this is in Australia. It's not like in Papua New Guinea that I'll have a backyard, my sisters, my brothers, my cousin, my aunties, they'll come to help me. I was helpless, hopeless, and I thought I would take my life. So I've come out from numerous attempted suicide. And then I
But
went.
I'll just interject just so that I want to make sure that we get into the story before our time's up. But
Okay.
when
No,
the
no, no.
divorce, when you saw the divorce papers, how did you find out about the accusations?
Okay. I went into a psychiatric ward because of the divorce. And when I came back, I went back to Papua New Guinea to find out the purpose of the divorce, why I was divorced. And Michelle, I was accused of sorcery, witchcraft, and black magic. I mean, you've read my book and you'll see what had happened there. But believing in a dream. My husband's uncle was an Adventist pastor who died some 15 years ago. He said, gave him 3 dreams. And he said, Emily did this, this, this. I am not a sorcerer. I don't practice sorcerer. I don't believe in witchcraft. So the divorce didn't really kill me. But the sorcery, it took all of me. Because women in PNG, when one is accused of sorcery, it is a dead warrant we carry. It is a dead warrant we carry, and our reputation, our integrity, everything is lost. Everything is lost. So when I was accused of sorcery, witchcraft, my dear, I went to the police. I went to the police to clear my name so that I can charge him. And guess what happened? Did the police help me? No, they didn't. In Papua New Guinea, the law will always reverse. It will always twist on an innocent mother and an innocent wife. Status and the power goes before, power of men goes before the crime committed. So I was helpless and hopeless, So the sorcery, accusation of sorcery is I was here in Australia. He was up there in Papua New Guinea. I was sick. So the house that we lived in, it's got a code number that you will go in, the unit that we lived in. So no one would have gone and planted this thing. He found feathers, bones of dead birds, and I think my business card, my piece of hair, it was wrapped in a dirty plastic, and they said I planted this to kill him. Why would I kill him when I love him so much? You know what I mean? I can't kill him. So in Papua New Guinea, when someone is accused of sorcery, it's a fear that goes into the toes to the head, and I'm telling you, all your hairs will come off. Just a fear. So even today, I am still living in that fear. It's a nightmare for me. I'll never come out of it. I'll never come out of it. It is a painful experience.
Emily, I think I'd like to be able to just show people what we're trying to explain, because unless you were there, and as I said, the reason I understand what you're going through is because I've seen it. We've driven on the sides of the road and we'd see like a woman that's been bashed by her husband, and then a friend dancing to her, and we hear about the abuse to women. We also heard a few times some men proudly announce how many wives they've had, and that truth is women in some cases in Papua New Guinea are treated like property, and that's really sad.
Very true.
But this whole witchcraft thing, I found something that I'd like to share the audience. And bear with me as I share my screen over here. And again, this is for me to just be able to show you what I mean. Now, in the post, I was...
Michelle, one thing that, let me say this before you share the pictures. I couldn't defend my divorce because I was labeled a witchcraft and a sorcerer. Because the community rejected me, my families, he took a snapshot and he showed all my families, the politicians, everybody. So I couldn't defend myself, defend the divorce. No one would hear me because I'm a sorcerer. You know what I mean? I was accused of being so. Women feel helpless and hopeless. And, the next thing for them to do is to die.
But you're a strong woman. You're a strong woman, so you're not going to die. You're going to help change the mindset of people in Papua New Guinea and in other countries where they still do this. And, every time I hear your story, and I've read about it as well, I can't help but think you are so blessed to actually not have been in Papua New Guinea when the accusation was put through. So because had you been there, I would have been able to escape. Now, in Papua New Guinea and in other countries, the accusation of sorcery or witchcraft does not just go on adult women. It's not done just on adult women. Even children actually can be accused. And this one I'm sharing, if you are very sensitive, this is going to be a very graphic photo that I'm going to be sharing. And this came out in the New Zealand Herald. So this one is a female victim, a child that's been accused of sorcery. She was beaten up. They used machetes that were hot, and they were trying to peel her skin to actually ensure that she was tortured and that she was killed. The whole idea was they wanted to make sure that she was gone, because they were saying that if they don't kill her, she would have the ability to kill them. And this is just such a barbaric thing. Now, aside from this one, I just want to share another photo. And these are photos that we got from social media. We're not talking about photos that we just dug up on Google. These are actually photos shared on social media by other Papua New Guineans seeking help. And please, if you do get photos like this in the future, try and do something. Try and help. Okay, sorry, just give me a sec. The photos disappeared. Okay, let me just do that again now. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is the photo of a woman. Sorry. Three women that are paraded there in the middle of wherever it is and tortured because they're witches. They've been said to be witches. So this isn't something that we're just saying. This isn't something that we're inventing. This is actually something that happened in that country. No one deserves that fate. No one deserves to be treated that way.
Michelle, one thing I specifically asked for these photos. In Papua New Guinea, the churches are fighting, the community, the government, everybody is fighting. But one thing that I've come to realize is if you cannot tell a story of what happened, I'm talking about victims. There are charities who are going and saying, we are talking for, sorcery and all this to help them. But they are not the victims. They will not feel the woman's cry. They will not feel the fear inside of a person who is a victim. Like in my case, I never went to church. They focus on you. They will not think of your good things, but that sorcery, it's a killer disease. It kills people. So I've come to learn that women who are accused of, something that they did not do, you can tell your stories by giving strength to another woman.
True.
And like in my case, I've done nothing wrong. I was accused of sorcery, but for speaking out and sharing my problem, I went into the jail. I went inside the jail. And one thing I want to say is, like, when we fight and when we argue and when we try to justify ourselves, we mean nothing, because women will always be at the fault. Women will always be at the fault. So how can we overcome this? One thing, Michelle, I've come to learn is the country needs to educate an educated man. Because when an educated man, the community, the tribe, they see him like a god. So when an educated man or highly profile, a person who's working, like for my case, when he went to the village and when he told them that my wife is a sorcerer, the whole community turned against me, because they believed in an educated man. They believed in a lawyer. They believed in a person that knows the law. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for us to really fight this, we're going to change an educated person not to believe in the sorcery. Because when an educated man speaks to a village man who does not even read and write, they believe in this thing, and women are burnt. If all educated men, I'm proud of my governor, Grand Chief, Peter Ipatas. As soon as I was accused, and not as soon as, but there was a child that was, I think they built it or they killed it, I'm not quite sure, but he is very vocal in my province. Peter Ipatas is very vocal. My God, he's a hero. He is very vocal and he's trying to fight this. He's saying educated men don't do this, And if we have all the politicians who are like, Peter Ipatas, concentrating in this, we'll have a peaceful country and our women will be safe. Like now, Michelle, when I go to Port Moresby, I don't go in public places. I'm one that I love eating in hotels. But after I was accused, I'm not going there. It destroyed my life. So, to give strength to women can do it. Women can tell their stories. I've come out to write 4 books. In a million years, I've never realized that I'll be an author. But I want to tell women in PNG, whatever your negative problems are, don't collect relatives and start fighting, because you will hinder your own blessings. Let it go. And like in my case, when I was accused of sorcery, I never collected my relatives, my tribe. I'm a leader in the village. I never collected. No one knows my story, what happened. When they read my book, they will see it. I've never fought. Even I didn't fight for my personal belongings. We women, we have a lot of stories to tell, but we live in the shadow of love. We fear if we tell our stories, we might be killed tomorrow. We might be rejected in the community.
That's true, though, depending on where you are. And that's why you're not able to talk in the country, because in that country,
exactly,
they still have that practice. They still do that practice.
Yes. And I agree with you. If I am still living in Papua New Guinea, I won't be writing my books. When the police, when they didn't want, I did a post-career article from Australia. So I am speaking and fighting from Australia, not in my country, because in my country I'll be killed.
That's right.
I can't speak up. I can't speak up.
That's right. That's the sad part. And that, I think you're right. That's something that really needs to be addressed. You have an amazing country. It's run by smart men. They just have to actually make a stand and, realize that women, well, everyone deserves to be respected. We all deserve respect. No one deserves to be beaten up, burned. No one deserves to be treated that way. And you know, there's some people that I don't even think there should be anything that says, oh, well, if you can really prove that she's a witch, then this should happen, because there's that. What's your idea of a witch? Who is a witch? What do they need to do to be labeled a witch? I think all these labels, and it should be clear that it's man and woman, both people created by God, both beings created to be equal, to share this universe that He's created for us. We deserve the right to live. We deserve respect. We deserve love, and we deserve to be raised.
Exactly. Well, I don't know about other victims. I will talk for myself, like me. For my case, I couldn't accept being accused of sorcery because I don't believe in this. I don't practice this. And even my husband said, you apologize to me. And I said, I will apologize on what? I don't believe in this thing. And witchcraft is something that people imagine in their head that it's happening. You know, when they see there is an accident, they said, oh, this is witchcraft. And there is trouble fights. Or when they see that a woman is finding difficult to give birth, they said, oh, this is witchcraft. Everything around Papua New Guinea, they revolved around witchcraft. And that's not true. I was accused of witchcraft, but I'm living telling my stories. And every, person in Papua New Guinea, I'm talking about men and the politicians, if woman is given an opportunity to speak, we will change the country, because Papua New Guinea is a beautiful country to live in.
That's right.
Like at my lowest time, I turned to God and I said, Lord, show me. And I am still praying. This thing, like when I go, I'm too scared to move around because some white men come and pull me and bend me. You know what I mean? I'm too frightened to. They might take my pictures around and say, this is the lady that practiced witchcraft, to an ambassador. It's fear. It's fearful. So when you ask me what is witchcraft, I think it's all in the set of mind.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
And Michelle, I will say this, and I'm telling all my viewers and all Papua New Guinea women, when a man wants to get married to another woman, they said, my wife is a witchcraft, she's a sorcerer.
Exactly.
Which we are not.
That's right. But Emily, that was exactly what burning at the stake, what that whole practice was created for. It was so that people, or kings and government officials, or people with status in society, could eliminate the women, or in some cases even the men that went against them. And as you said, in Papua New Guinea, if you have a strong woman and you want to marry, you have to try and eliminate that woman. It's so easy to say witchcraft. If there's interest involved, it's so easy to say it's witchcraft, which is sad, which is stupid.
Exactly. And Michelle, you say, if my husband wanted to get married, I will not tie his legs and hands down. He can do so. But why at the expenses of accusing me as a sorcerer when I am not? Why spoiling my reputation and my integrity?
That's right.
I am a successful businesswoman. And I'm born from a leader. Why accusing me of something that I didn't do? So men, they tend to find excuses to leave their wife. And witchcraft, sorcery is one of them. Because I know, I didn't do anything wrong. A shock, surprise divorce,
right.
But that was fine.
It's a country where if you make that mistake of accusing someone, it's not just a matter of the man being able to marry somebody else, but it's also ruining and killing that person in the process. And that's not right.
Exactly.
It's not fair. It cannot be right
Exactly.
in any forum. It shouldn't be allowed to be seen as right.
Yes. It's all, and my mother has never practiced it. My grandmother has never practiced it. In Anga, we don't know what sorcery is. So I don't know where my husband collected from, believing a dream. He said his uncle told him this. This is wrong. This is purely wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if there are messages and comments. Again, for those of you that are putting your comments on my private um, Facebook page, I'll have to read them because it doesn't come out here. Meantime, let me just pull out this thing from Connie.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Here we go. Connie says, Emily, you're a strong woman. I can feel the pain and the fear even when you are speaking. How do you hang on? How do you find the strength?
Connie, nice meeting you. Hi, thank you for that comment. I won't do it myself. It was through the grace of God. My fathers couldn't help me. My mothers couldn't help me. My aunties couldn't help me. Not even the tribe and the clan. But it was through God. And I will read something here. You know, at my very lowest time, you know, I cried, why the sorcery? How am I going to face it? You know, how am I going to speak? How am I going to approach, you know, people? And Luke 12, you know, in the Bible, Luke chapter 12 and verse 1, 11 to 12, it says, when you are brought before the synagogues, the rulers, and the authorities, do not worry. I will fight for you. You know, I will defend you. You don't need to defend yourself. So I knew God was in control. So I went into fasting to clear my name. So thank you. I am strong because of God. You saw me crying there, so, and the pain. But there's more to this divorce, the sorcery, than just what's on the surface. So when you read my book, you will know.
That's right. So Emily's book is out on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. I just read on one of the platforms today. And actually, Emily, I seem to have a different picture of the book. Actually, what we will do is we will put the book and the link.
No, I've written few books. I've written few books. So whatever the cover you got, they are my books. So yes.
That's right.
Finding Hope in the Midst of Sorrow is published now.
And that is such an amazing way to describe it, Emily, because it is a very difficult time that you had to go through. But instead of making that incident, that situation destroy you, you allowed it to build you up, and you allowed it to help you help others. Because if we don't, if we don't speak up, if we don't tell our stories, if we don't try and see how we can help others, then it's all happened for nothing, right? And as I said, no matter how I go through your story, I keep thinking, oh my God, this woman is so blessed. She's got God's grace, because it could have ended very differently. Women are very beautiful creatures. Very strong creatures, and we need to learn how to respect them. To the men that are watching this, you need to take a stand. You need to speak up, because in some countries, and Papua New Guinea, unfortunately, is one of them, what a man says is important. What a man says is heard louder than what a woman says. So you need to support women. You need to say that this isn't true. You need to make a stand. And remember that no matter what is happening around you, no matter how difficult it seems, and we might all say it might take a while for Papua New Guinea to change its practices. If you don't start now, it will never happen. It has to start somewhere.
True.
The amazing thing is there are people that are starting to do different work in Papua New Guinea. We have other ambassadors for women in Papua New Guinea. I've got a very good friend who I've requested to join us. I'm hoping she's watching. A friend of mine, and if you have been following me on social media, you would have seen my photos when we were in PNG. We would actually organize walks early in the morning, and the group is called Women on the Move. And in Women on the Move, they literally help women move because of the situation in PNG, because crime is so high, and battery against women. All these walks early in the morning in Papua New Guinea is organized with security backup and all that, so that women can walk freely, and we've had amazing mornings of just connecting with women and supporting women. I was also watching a live event that happened in Papua New Guinea where the Lutheran Church, the women and men in Papua New Guinea are trying to create as well awareness of what's going on and talk about how barbaric this practices of burning witches. So people are starting to move. So if you're worried that you're the only one, look, you're not the only one now that's going to be making a stand. So you guys watching, you guys have to start creating a stand, creating awareness. If you have amazing, powerful, and supportive men in your lives, ask your men to be a bit more vocal about this situation. Women have to be cared for. Again, women have to be loved, and women have to be raised in a pedestal. Women give birth to all these men. Without the woman, where will they be?
Michelle, I wrote a book, and the title is called "Wife is a Gift from God." A woman
That's
is
right.
born. A woman is born to a father, but wife is a gift from God. And you know what, Michelle? When you don't respect your given wife from God, you face disaster. Because a woman is created very special. If you have a baby that is crying, when a father touches the baby will cry and cry and cry. Once when it comes to a mother's hand, oh, I'm telling you, the child will fall asleep. We are very, very special. You know, women must be respected. Men can get married, but stop accusing them for sorcery and
That's
burning
right.
them and killing them. You know?
That's right. That's right. So true. I just pulled out a few photos here, and I've got a
Of my
book
books?
here. So let me share it with everyone. And again, if we don't share stuff like this, people don't know.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. This is the book that I have here, Emily, and this is the book that I'd like people to actually read. Finding Hope in the Midst of Sorrow. I think that
Yes.
picture is quite powerful.
It's
It's a problem in a lot of countries, and it's a problem that needs to be addressed. So please make sure that you create the awareness and start just being aware of what's going on around you. There's
let me
another
just
one.
explain. Can I just explain the title of the book?
Yes, that would be
Finding hope in the midst of sorrow is it's my life. I couldn't have done it without God. So in the midst of sorrow, when everything was happening, I wrote this book.
great.
So women who are going through some difficult situations, some struggles in life that you think you're about to give up. I've come out from numerous suicides. This book will give you hope. And I'm not talking about the negatives in this book. I'm not trying to pinpoint someone that you did this. This book is focused on God,
Mm,
finding hope in the midst of sorrow, and to encourage women because I could not speak. No one could hear me.
mm,
So
true.
this book, so I'm appealing to Papua New Guinea, our politicians, our government, our opposition, that if they can hear a woman's cry, she will change their son because kids, they don't know their mother's cry until and when she speaks out. So this book is a book where, I can thank my professor I call Gertrude. I don't want to mention his surname, but she has taught me well, and for 3 other books to come. So this is the first book now. It's on the market, and yeah, it's a very interesting book. It's my life story in this book. So yeah, and other women's stories are in this. I think it's in "Wife is a Gift from God." So
That's right.
that's a very
Yeah.
anyway. So
People who don't realize that witchcraft and sorcery is still happening, this is something that you should be reading. The other
yeah,
thing is just if you know someone in Papua New Guinea, or if you're a Papua New Guinean in Australia, get this book, share it, let your voice be heard. If you're in
Yes.
country, and we understand if you're afraid to speak up, but we would like to actually call on, especially the men who have, who know that this shouldn't be happening, to just try and see how they can help. Because if we don't speak up, nothing's going to change. Also,
And
Emily,
Michelle,
sorry.
Michelle, I wanna just add just a few on the comment that you had add. If the government of Papua New Guinea can buy my book, or the Enga provincial government can buy my book, it will educate a young girl in high school, in primary school, to say when a mother goes through a problem, she will be well equipped. And when she goes through her own problem, she will know how to face the battles in her life. So this book is for Papua New Guinean women and the Pacific women that I wrote, because men do not respect women. Men do not respect women. So if the education department can buy my book and sell it to the schools, and especially to young girls and women who are working in the office, it'll be very good, because the book is not about myself, whether I want to get fame or, all this. The book is not about myself. The book is to help you, the divorced woman, the women who are struggling, the women who are accused of a crime that mothers and wives did not commit. So this book will go a long way to speak for itself for a woman and a mother and wife.
That's right. And let me just add one last photo. And the photo that I want to share basically just reiterates what I was saying earlier, where I'm so amazed that this happened to you, because you're not just any woman. You're someone that's actually, traveled the world, seen the world, met the previous,
Mm.
first lady. You're from an educated family. You've got an educated husband, and if this can happen to you, if you can be charged of witchcraft, if we don't put the word out there, others can be
Yeah.
charged with it as well. Others can
Yes.
be made victim of it as well.
Yes.
So, more than
Yes.
anything, I think that's what's important. We need to put it
Yes.
out there. It's
Yes.
ridiculous for any country, any city, any town to accept and allow burning of witches. It is
Yes.
ridiculous for any society to think that it's okay.
Yes.
And we have to voice out, our concerns, and remind people, you know what? If you really truly believe in a bigger being, if you truly really believe in God, this thing cannot happen. There's no such thing as burning witches. It's just people trying to be vindictive, trying to hurt others, and silencing women,
Mm.
not giving them a chance to defend themselves. So
It's
please do your
yeah. Yeah. It's very sad, because like the book, it's like I'm an educated woman and I'm exposed living in Australia. So when I came out, this is not right, and I can speak out. But just imagine our sisters, our mothers, our daughters who are living in a very remote area, who is accused of sorcery. They have no choice but to die, you know? And how can we help those people, We can help those people by educated women who who are more civilized, who are more exposed to things, can speak out. Don't keep your problems inside. When you speak out, you will change another woman, you know? I mean, we're still coming from this where women cannot speak. But I'm doing this because I am in Australia. You know what I mean? And Australia has given me an opportunity to speak. Even if I was in Australia, PNG, I would still speak. But then I went inside the jail, you know? So what guarantee do I get to speak out my problems? There's no guarantee, because the police themselves, you've read the book, the police themselves, they went against me. So it's a problem we have, and we still need to educate the country, the men especially, to change, everything.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for your time. And I do pray that we can impact, a few people at least. I always say one viewer at a time. And hopefully that we can change what's happening in Papua New Guinea
Thank
and in
you.
other countries. As I said, it's not just PNG, other sub-Saharan
Thank
African
you.
countries still practice
Thank you.
burning at the stake. So do get the book. Emily's book is out on Amazon. We will be sharing the link on this below. So at the end of the event, we will post it below. So please do check it out and share the book to other women in those countries so that they can be empowered.
Yes.
And share it with the men as well, so that the men can open their eyes to what's going on and make the changes. Again, Emily, thank you for joining us today.
Michelle, thank you for the opportunity. And this is my first presentation. And thank you. And I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
I do know it's your first, and
I think I'll do better next time.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Because you came up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It wasn't an easy story for Emily to share, and I really am really glad that she was willing to come on. Again, it isn't about saying Papua New Guinea is a horrible country. It isn't about saying all the men in PNG are bad. What we're saying is there are practices that are still going on over there and practices that are still going on in other sub-Saharan African countries. Google it, look at YouTube, look at actual videos that people who witness it shockingly share because they can't believe it's happening. Look at posts on social media where people share photos that I just shared with you today. We have to make a stand. It's amazing what social media can do for us. It's amazing what we can share. And it's only if we do share and talk about it, it's only when we make a stand that things can change. So thank you for joining me. I hope you had your cuppa, and have a great day, everyone. Do share your comments. Longman Marshall, thank you for dropping by and saying hello. The others, as I said, I can't see your post right now. We will respond to your comments after this show. And if you think of anything, if you watch the replay, please just keep sharing the videos, because it's only through learning the truth can we actually make possible changes and make a difference. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.